Do you remember when we used to leave our doors unlocked? When kids played in the street until dark and no one worried? When a handshake was worth more than a contract? That was the Canada many of us grew up in. And today, we're going to remember it together. Our streets were different, weren't they? Everyone knew everyone. The milkman came in the early morning, the baker might ring the doorbell, and the mailman knew every family's name. Kids would run out the door after breakfast and only come back when the streetlights flickered on. Bikes without helmets, scraped knees, bruised elbows. It was all part of the experience. We weren't glued to video games because they barely existed. The street was ours. The whole neighborhood was our giant playground. In the winter, we'd build snowmen that stood guard for weeks. We'd construct ice forts and wage all-day snowball fights. And when summer finally arrived, there were the open fire hydrants spraying water on the street, bike races to the park, and simple picnics on the grass. No internet, no cell phones, no constant paranoia. Just a real, unfiltered childhood. And remember the cars? Those metal tanks? Fords, Chevys, Plymouths, with wide bench seats that fit the whole family. No mandatory seat belts, no airbags. Getting into your dad's car was an adventure. That smell of old upholstery, maybe a hint of his aftershave, with the AM radio playing hockey or a country classic. And the road trips? We crossed entire provinces with nothing but a paper map that Dad insisted on folding wrong. We'd stop at roadside gas stations where an attendant would clean the windshield and check the oil without you even asking. The roads were emptier then. Driving was pure freedom. School was a different world, too. No computers, no projectors, just chalk, a blackboard, and a notebook. The teacher spoke. You copied it down, you studied, and that was that. If you got a bad grade, it was your problem, not the teacher's. And discipline? It was real. You didn't talk back. And if you got into trouble at school, you knew you'd probably get into trouble again when you got home. It taught you respect, responsibility, and that actions have consequences. Phys ed was outdoors, even in the freezing cold. We played hockey at school, Canadian football in the mud, and ran in the snow. No one whined about being cold. That's just how it was. Winter truly defined us. It wasn't just a season, it was a lifestyle. It really snowed back then. Mountains of it on the sidewalks, cars buried overnight. And we loved it. We'd wake up, put on 3 layers of clothes, giant boots and gloves so thick you could barely bend your fingers, and head out to play. Skating on the frozen neighborhood pond, sledding down hills at what felt like 100 miles an hour. After hours outside, you'd come home with red cheeks and nearly frozen fingers, and your mom would have real hot chocolate waiting, made on the stove with marshmallows on top. Winter brought families together, everyone inside having dinner together, actually talking, without each person staring at a different screen. Family dinner was sacred. 6 o'clock, everyone at the table. No TV on, no phones ringing, father, mother, children, all there. You talked about your day. After dinner, maybe the kids washed the dishes, and on a Saturday night, the whole family would gather to watch hockey night in Canada. Sundays were often for church in the morning and a visit to the grandparents in the afternoon. Grandparents lived nearby, a part of your daily life. They'd teach you recipes and tell stories about how they built everything from scratch. Family meant something real. Local shops were the heart of the community. You went to Mr. John's grocery, not a giant superstore. The shopkeeper knew you by name and might even give you credit if you were a little short, trusting you'd pay at the end of the month. Trust was the currency. Even entertainment was simpler. We had 3 TV channels. You watched what was on when it was on. If you missed it, you missed it. But it created a shared culture. Everyone watched the same show and talked about it the next day. And when nothing was on, you read a book, played cards, or worked on a puzzle. Families entertained themselves together. And security? You could leave your front door unlocked. You knew the neighborhood police officer by name. The community looked out for itself. If a kid was acting up, any adult felt they could step in. This was the Canada we grew up in, a place where you didn't need much to be happy, where people mattered more than things, and neighbors were friends, not strangers. Of course, it wasn't perfect, but there was a sense of community, unity, and simplicity. Today, we have more technology and comfort, but maybe we've lost some of that real human connection. So when we remember that Canada, it's not just nostalgia. It's a longing for a time when things felt simpler, when we were perhaps happier with less. And maybe, just maybe, we can bring back some of that spirit by valuing people, community, and simplicity once more, because that's what makes a country a home. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.